Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Tester. Thank you for joining us for day number 4 in our week-long series of looking at abusive behaviors. Today, we are looking at using children as the weapon against the other parent. And in this case, it's not necessarily just little babies, it's teens, and it can even carry over into adult life. What do you call such a type of abuse? Well, it happens to be a form of emotional abuse, and the title that we give to it is parental alienation. Parental alienation is a set of strategies that parents use to undermine and interfere with a child's relationship with his or her other parent. Parental alienation occurs when a child is influenced by one parent, and we often call that parent the alienator, to completely reject their other parent, whom we refer to as the target. Now, this often happens when parents are engaged in any form of contested custody battle. Now, although intense feelings of anger and mistrust are common when parents are beginning to transition from being within the same household, and you get this tidal wave of emotion into being a co-parenting set of parents due to divorce. Most parents do experience less anger and anxiety over time, and this makes this transition much easier for them, and they're able to successfully co-parent. However, that's not always the case with children. Successful co-parenting parents do live healthier and more productive lives with their children, and their children also live healthier and more productive lives. Since parental alienation is such a long-term consequence for both parents and children, it is extremely important to recognize the signs early. Unfortunately, many courts and other professionals within that system don't always know what to look for in these high-conflict divorces. During this time is the most important time for professional intervention, when it could have its greater impact. Confounding the matters further, some parents either refuse to participate in parent-child therapy or respond to guidance from any of their therapists that they are ordered to see, especially if they're court-ordered to see that therapist. They're just a little hesitant. Many times they're hesitant if the therapy isn't court-ordered, because they know that with court-ordered therapy, it will be carefully monitored on an ongoing basis. Since the alienating parent is usually extremely masterful at using litigation as a means to control the target parent. Many target parents are exhausted and depleted by previous litigation, and many times they fear that more legal involvement is only going to make things worse. Well, we're going to take a very short break here, and when we return, we will look at the symptoms of parent alienation. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Tester. We are looking at day number 4 of abusive behaviors, using your children against the other parent. We refer to that as parental alienation. So what are the symptoms of parental alienation? They make you feel guilty about your children in any way, shape, or form. They use your children to relay negative messages to you. They use children to report on your activities. They use visitation time to harass you. They threaten to take custody of your children. They threaten to kidnap your children. They badmouth the other parent more times than not. They limit the contact with the other parent. They tend to erase the other parent from the life and mind of the child, forbidding discussions and even pictures of the other parent. They force the child to reject the other parent. They create the impression that the other parent is dangerous. They force the child to choose. They belittle or limit contact with extended family members of the target parent. They refuse to acknowledge that children have property and may want to transport their possessions between the two residences. They refuse to be flexible with the visitation schedule in order to respond to the child's needs. The alienating parent may also schedule the children in so many activities that the other parent is never given time to visit. Of course, when the targeted parent protests, they are described as not caring or being selfish. When children cannot give reasons for being angry towards the parent, or their reasons are very vague or without any detail, that is a sign. When parents physically or psychologically rescue the child when there is no threat to their safety, this practice reinforces in the child's mind the illusion of a threat or danger, forcing alienation. They make demands on the other parent that is contrary to the court order. They listen in on the children's phone conversations that they are having with the other parent. Now, adult children of parent alienation syndrome, that is, adults who believe that when they were children, one parent turned them against the other parent. It confirms that being exposed to parental alienation represents a form of emotional abuse, even in adulthood. Likewise, these adults reported that when they yielded to the pressure and rejection of one parent to please the other parent, the experience was associated with several negative long-term effects, including depression, drug use, divorce, low self-esteem, trusting, and estrangement from their own children when they became parents themselves. In this way, the cycle of parental alienation is carried forward through the generations. Thus, parental alienation is a form of emotional abuse that not only damages the child's self-esteem in the short run, but is associated with long-term damage. Well, we're going to take another very short break, and when we return, we will look at what Scripture has to offer in the form of advice. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. We are looking at parental alienation on day number 4 of our week-long series, looking at abusive behaviors. So what does Scripture have to say? Can we get any encouragement? We look at in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Fathers, do not exacerbate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Fathers, do not exacerbate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Psalms 127, verses 3 through 5. Psalms 127, verses 3 through 5. Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the man who fills his quiver with, he shall not be put to shame when he speaks with his enemy at the gate. Behold, Children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the man who fills his quivers with them. He shall not be put to shame when he speaks with his enemies at the gate. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 10 through 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 10 through 15. By the grace God has given me, I laid a foundation as an expert builder, and someone else is building on it. But each one should be careful how he builds, for no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. If any man builds on this foundation using gold, silver, costly stones, wood, hay, or straw, his work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each man's work. If what he has built survives, he will receive his reward. If it is burned up, he will suffer loss. He himself will be saved, but only as one escaping the flames. By the grace God has given to me, I laid a foundation as an expert builder, and someone else is building on it. But each one should be careful how he builds. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. If any man builds on this foundation using gold, silver, costly stones, wood, hay, or straw, his work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring light to it. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each man's work. If what he has built survives, he will receive his reward. If it is burned up, he will suffer loss. He himself will be saved, but only as one escaping through the flames. Psalms 119, verse 1. Psalms 119, verse 1. Blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the way of the Lord. If you believe that you have either suffered from parent alienation, or that you may be a victim in that you may be teaching your children these ways, or perhaps the other parent is trying to turn your child against you, we would ask that you would give us a call here at the office, 562-209-2083, 562-209-2083, or visit us at our website, www.newlifepastoralcounseling.com, newlifepastoralcounseling.com. We would be more than happy to assist you with any form of abuse that you feel that you may be a victim of, trying to survive and simply need the extra assistance, or perhaps you're concerned as to whether or not you are walking down this path. Again, thank you for listening to Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. We hope that you will join us for our week-long series, but join us each and every time we air. Have a wonderful day, and as always, be blessed in the Lord. Bye-bye.